Remember guys, the only way for you to remove pain is to go through it. There's no other way. How to really move on? Alam mo yun, yung totoong move on. Now, if I'm gonna ask you that specific question, it's a very basic answer or tell everybody who ask for an advice na just forgive. Alam mo yun, kalimutan mo na lang siya, isipin mo na lang, napatay na siya, mga ganong klaseng mga bagay. Pero here's the thing, it's actually a very vague advice eh. Kasi pag sinabi mo sa tao, paano ka mag-move on, kalimutan mo na siya. Ang dali kasing sabihin eh na you have to accept the fact of what happened to you. It's just like telling to someone, paano ka makapunta from point A to point B, sumakay ka ng sasakyan. It's a macro level of advice. Pero not everybody knows the specifics of how to do it. An advice of acceptance is actually a macro advice, which is very difficult to follow kasi hindi mo alam kung paano ka pupunta doon. Pero most of the time, people has difficulty finding the way on how to forgive and how to forget. Kaya nga siya hindi naka-move on kasi hindi niya alam paano mag-forgive at hindi niya din alam kung paano mag-forget. So, what is the right way if ever ikaw na tao na broken-hearted, iniwan ng taong mahal mo, and you wanted to move on? Here's the thing. Paano ka ba talaga mag-move on? Well, first off, everybody jumps into a specific conclusion wherein dapat i-accept mo yung pagkakataon na nasaktan ka. Dapat you have to forget. Just don't stay on that specific place. Fine. That's the right way of moving on. Pero that's already on the later part. Kasi nga, that's step 10 out of 50. So you have to first start somewhere at the very beginning. The first step of moving on is to actually feel the pain. Remember guys, the only way for you to remove pain is to go through it. There's no other way. If you're saying to yourself na ililibang ko na lang yung sarili ko, I would just go on and spend time with my friends, with my family, fine, it alleviates the pain for the moment. Pero you're just treating the symptom, not the sickness. Kasi nga, bottom line is, pag uwi ka ng bahay, mag-isa ka sa kwarto, it will always go back to you. The pain, the memories, the suffering, and the happy moments. So, the only way for you to remove pain is to go through it. Accept the fact that it's finished and accept the fact that it's painful. That's just how it is. Ganito kasi yan. You can't tell your heart, your mind, and your soul to be okay. It's just like telling a physical wound, huy, gumaling ka na. Of course, it's not gonna happen 1 day, 2 days, or 3 days. Hindi mangyayari yun eh. A physical wound is gonna heal by itself depending on your capacity, depending on your capability as an individual. Kasi may mga taong mabilis gumaling, may mga taong hindi mabilis gumaling. Pero bottom line is, the body has a natural process of healing. So same as true with the wound and the heart. But one way for you not to heal first is to delay the healing process by not facing the fact that everything is over. Okay lang umiyak, okay lang sumigaw, okay lang kahit anong gawin mo, ayos lang yan. Any outlet that you wanted to do, and there's no shame of crying over a person that hurt you. Kasi that's one way for you to actually remove that heavy feeling. The more you go through pain, the more you're able to put it out there. Just a disclaimer, it doesn't necessarily mean that if you feel the pain, you have to destroy your life. Of course not. There's a fine line. You don't have to allow yourself na maapektuhan yung work mo, yung relationship mo sa iba, or anything beyond what you have. Kasi that relationship already destroyed you. Please, do yourself a favor. Don't allow that specific reason to destroy other relationships as well. You can tell them, but it should not be at the cost of that relationship. So that's one way. Feel the pain and don't be scared. There's no really true way for you to go over it, but to accept the fact that it's painful and you have to go through that. Part of the reason why it's very difficult to move on is because half of the time you're half-baked. Second thing, after you go through pain, make a decision. Anong decision, Kuya Darbs? You have to make a decision that if you want to pursue the relationship or you have to let it go. I understand. I understand that, nag-break na nga kami. Regardless of what happened. Regardless of what happened with the breakup, you have to only have two options. Either you decide to go back to that person or you move on. Part of the reason why it's very difficult to move on is because half of the time you're half-baked. Umaga pa lang gusto mong makipagbalikan, pagkahapon ayaw mo na. Tapos after mo nakita yung post sa Facebook, gusto mo na makipagbalikan. Tapos nung nakita mo yung may post na kasamang iba, ayaw mo na ulit. And it's just like opening your wound. Alam mo yung pag may sugat ka, tapos may band-aid, binubuksan-buksan mo. Ganon yung nangyayari eh. So you're never gonna heal right away. Kung ganun ang gagawin mo, you're never gonna be able to move on if that's what you're gonna do. So second step is that you have to decide. Either you want to continue or you don't want to continue. Now, merong two branches yan eh. If ever you decided to continue with the relationship, either you make amends to that person kahit nakasalanan niya, or I don't know if that person is trying to get back to you, well and good, so it's easier for you. If that's the case, never allow that reason of breakup to haunt you on the future things that you will have as a couple. Kasi kung pinatawad mo siya, halimbawa nag-cheat yung partner mo, tapos pinatawad mo siya, but that is the cost of everything that you will have moving forward, like saka pumunta, ganito, ganyan, nagiging nagger ka na, there's no point of forgiving that person in the mistake in the first place. Kasi you forgive eh. You know that he made a mistake and it's your decision to forgive. So when you forgive, you mean that you have to move on. So that's like a solid decision that if you forgive, go straight, wala nang balikan nun. Hindi mo na pwedeng ibalik-balik kasi there's no point of going back to that relationship if babalik-balikan mo pa rin yun. So that's one thing. If you decided to go back. If you didn't decided to go back, Kuya Darbs, okay na, I move on. I don't want what she or he did to me was too much that I can't actually accept it. Pero nasasaktan lang ako ngayon, well and good and it's better. But make a decision. You have to make a decision that it's enough. Once you make that decision, it has to be final. And then that's the start of going to the third step. An idle mind is a devil's playground. After you made a decision of moving forward, then that's the time you focus on yourself. Karamihan sa mga pagkakataon on why people are not able to move on easily is because they made their partner their world. So much so that when that partner moves, nawalan sila ng mundo. They don't have the pattern of their own. Wala silang lakad ng sarili nila. They don't have their own friends. Alam mo yun? So, I think, after making a decision to move on, it's now time to focus on yourself. Why would you focus on yourself? Because you deserve it. You owe yourself this time. So, ano ibig mo sabihin, Kuya Darbs, if you want me to focus on myself? Focus on yourself. Pamper yourself. Paganda ka. Not to the expense that nagpapaganda ka because you want someone to replace that person. No. Again, you're treating a symptom, not the problem. You dress up nicely for you to feel better. Not for you to have someone look at you at may papalit ka sa bagong jowa mo. Either you do that by focusing on your career. Spending time with yourself means also to focus on the friends that you lost along the way because of the relationship. And of course, you have to find a way, activities, learn new skill, learn new hobby that basically would take time outside of your busy schedule, and at the same time, it propels you to the next level. Yung mga ganong klaseng activities should be propelling you to the next level. Para it's like hitting two birds in one stone. Nalilibang ka, and at the same time, you learn a new skill, you learn a new network, you've already pushed yourself onto the next level. Gusto mong mag-vlogging, you pursue vlogging. Kung gusto mong i-pursue yung pagkanta, go ahead. I-pursue mo yung pagkanta. Kung gusto mong mag-horseback ride, pag mayaman ka, why not? Gawin mo yun. Kung wala kang pera, magkalabaw-kalabaw ka lang muna. Pero that's the thing. You have to focus on yourself by finding activities that would propel you to the next level. Kasi if you don't find activities, magmumukmo ka lang sa kwarto mo. And an idle mind is a devil's playground. So after that, what are you gonna do? What are you gonna do after you focused on yourself? Pagkatapos mo mag-focus sa sarili mo, definitely you will find ways on how to react. they don't know the true meaning of self-worth. Pagkatapos mong mag-focus sa sarili mo, definitely you will find ways on how to realize your self-worth. And I think most of the time, part of the reason why people have a difficult time moving forward and have a difficult time deciding whether to move on or to go back to their relationship is because they don't know the true meaning of self-worth. Anong ibig sabihin ng self-worth? If you know your value, you will not allow someone to treat you the way you're not supposed to be treated. If you are a 16-karat gold, would you allow someone to give you 20 pesos for it? Of course not, because you know yourself, you're a valuable individual and you don't allow yourself to be treated the way you're not supposed to be treated. So self-worth, value yourself. And one thing's for sure, if you know what you bring to the table, you're never afraid to eat alone. If you have that kind of mindset, moving on would be easy. But sadly, most of us are not like that. And you're not supposed to feel bad if you're not at that level. Kasi nga, everybody has their own scope eh. Hindi naman lahat pinanganak na malakas agad. But it's better for you to know these steps other than being lost on doesn't know what to do. Alam mo yun? At least alam mo kung ano yung mga dapat mong gawin versus not really knowing anything at all. So self-worth, realize that. Love when you're ready, not when you're freaking lonely. After realizing your self-worth, give yourself a time to be alone. Anong ibig sabihin nun, Kuya Darbs? Kasi most of us are too excited to jump into a different relationship just to prove our ex na kaya ko siyang palitan anytime. Love when you're ready, not when you're freaking lonely. Kasi most of the time, yung healing process, hindi pa natatapos, you again jump into another relationship. What happens is, another relationship mo is panakipbutas lang yun. Just for you not to feel pain. Just for you not to feel alone. Most of us are with someone and enter into a relationship not because we love the person. It's because we're afraid to be alone. So, have the time to actually find ways to be alone first. Fine, pwede kang mag-char-char dyan. Pwede kang mag-date-date. But never enter into a relationship right away. Let yourself heal full. Kung ikaw na-injure ka sa basketball, siguro nabalian ka ng tuhod, hindi naman na sprain yung tuhod mo. You have to let your knee go through its healing process. Hindi pwedeng nilagyan mo lang ng ice ngayon, tapos hinilot-hilot mo kagabi, kinabukasan ilalaro mo na agad. Then that's a recipe for disaster because the next injury that you will have will be a situation where hindi mo na magagamit yung knee mo because you use or naglaro ka without having the right healing process, without actually waiting the healing process. That's the reason why most of the people are so broken. Why? Because they don't allow themselves to heal and they jump into another relationship. And what happens is that when they jump another relationship, they again get broken and then it goes on and on and on and then dun nagkakaroon ng trust issue ang isang babae or ang isang lalaki. So, if I were you, always have the courtesy and you owe it to yourself to heal first before jumping into another relationship. It's not because you want to prove something to someone or it's just because para lang I look cool that I was single after him. And don't mind other people na if they tell you that you're single for a long time after the breakup because hindi ka nakahanap ng iba. No, it's not like that. You're giving your time, yourself away for you to heal. Alam mo yun? And in that process, it doesn't necessarily mean na you don't go out, you don't date, pero you allow yourself to heal first. Just like playing in the basketball, you don't play an actual game. Pwede kang mag-shoot sa gilid, pwede kang mag-dribble. So, you can date, you can see someone, pero it's not an actual relationship. So, you have to practice and exercise yourself first. Just like the knee. Now, once your knee is fully healed, or your heart is fully healed, that's the time you can now play again. Maybe this time you're gonna win.